like to call to order the 220th town meeting of the town of Brookfield. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence for those townspeople who have died in the last year and for our servicemen overseas. I'd like to introduce our selectmen. We have Bill Nelson in the center, who's the chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Richard Zacher on the far left, who is the vice chairman, and Brian Robichaud immediately to my left. Do we have any new residents of the town present tonight? If so, would you like to stand and give us your name and your address?
Ken Primo, 184 Tumbledown Dick Road.
Good, welcome to town.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anyone present who is not a registered voter? I would like to remind you that it's a misdemeanor if you attempt to vote. One over there. My children over here. One of my children. The other one's a registered voter. I have not heard of any announcements this year. If anyone has any announcements, you can call them to my attention at this point in time. Let me review the rules of procedure for our town meeting. By state law, RSA 44(1), the moderator sets the rules and procedures of the meeting. We will not follow Robert's Rules of Order or any other complicated rules of parliamentary procedure. Instead, we will follow my rules. I cannot promise to run a perfect meeting, but I will do my best to run a fair meeting. Ultimately, though, this is your meeting. By majority vote, you can change my rules or overrule any decision that I make. Rules for debate. Only registered voters may speak unless a majority of the voters present decide otherwise. Those wishing to be recognized should raise their hands or stand. Once the moderator recognizes you, please state your full name. Only one person, the one recognized by the moderator, may speak at any one time. All speakers are expected to direct the debate to the moderator, and no conversations directed to others on the floor will be allowed. When you have the floor to speak, you should address the issue under consideration, or you may be ruled out of order. Any voter may question a procedural ruling by the moderator by asking to appeal the ruling to the body as a whole. A simple majority is required to overrule the moderator. Questions about the process are encouraged, as it may often seem confusing, but everyone should remember that debate leading to decision is the primary purpose of the meeting. Voting on articles. The moderator will not accept motions to call the question until, in his judgment, all have had a fair opportunity to express their views. The moderator will not accept motions to table or indefinitely postpone an article. If citizens want to dispose of an article, they should simply vote the article down. This prevents the confusion of people having to vote positively to dispose of an article. The moderator will only accept motions to pass over an article if more than one article on the warrant addresses the same question, and then only for the purpose of not confusing a decision reached by the meeting. Only one reconsideration of an article will be recognized. 7 voters are required to question my ruling on the outcome of a vote. If a voice vote is questioned, we will have a show of hands and or a division of the House. If the vote remains in question, we will have a secret ballot. This must happen before any other business occurs. Amendments. Motions to amend an article must be in writing. The clerk will have paper and pencils. The moderator will allow consideration of no more than one amendment at a time. That means no motions to amend a motion to amend. Amendments which simply negate the intent of the motion, such as inserting the word "not," will be ruled out of order as they confuse people as to which way they intend to vote. To repeat, if citizens want to dispose of an article, they should simply vote the article down. Are there any questions? We'd now like to announce the results of the voting that occurred today. For selectmen, for William Nelson, we have 114 votes. For David Gottadaro, we have 117 votes. I declare David Gottadaro the winner. For trustee of the trust funds, Peter Holland, 211 votes. I declare Peter Holland the winner. For moderator, William Marsh, 215 votes. I declare William Marsh the winner. For planning board, we had a significant number of write-in votes. The three top vote getters, John Merrigan had 43 votes. Jim Freeman had 22 votes. I declare them the winners if they accept the position. David Champy had 9 votes and was third. For cemetery trustee, Craig Evans, 203 votes. I declare him the winner. For auditor, Amanda Pierce had 79 write-in votes. I declare her the winner. For supervisor of the checklist 6 years, Cheryl Perry had 207 votes. I declare her the winner. And for supervisor of the checklist 4 years, Rose Zacher had 207 votes. I declare her the winner. For the warrant articles, article number 2, we have 139 yes, 90 no. I declare that the article passes. For article number 3, we have 160 yes, 68 no. I declare that the article passes. For the state election in the town of Brookfield, Michael Cryans, 83 votes. Joseph Kenny, 149 votes. Joseph Kenny won Brookfield. I don't know who won the election. We'll now move on to our warrant articles. We're going to let Jenny get a different chair. It's hard enough taking minutes with all these talking people, you know. At least we can let her sit comfortably. Article number 4. To see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to grant an easement burdening Bryce Drive to Samuel and Barbara Holt, MAP 10 and Lot 31, to allow Samuel and Barbara Holt to retain their well, which was inadvertently located within the right-of-way. Granting of this easement will in no way interfere with the public's use of the road or the town's ability to maintain the road. Ryan, I think you're speaking to that one?
Come on.
Bill, okay. Do you want to make that as a motion?
Yes, I do.
Is there a second? Second motion. Thank you. Bill, go ahead.
When we had Bryce Drive resurveyed, we came across the fact that the well was 3 feet into the town's right-of-way. A new well had been put in 10, 15 years ago, and it was drilled in the town right-of-way. Our understanding is that the owners of the property had difficulty with their old well having been contaminated and it needed to be moved. We do not know who made the decision to put it where it is, but since it's only 3 feet onto the right-of-way, we only think it's fair that the person received an easement. We've been advised by our attorney that it would be best to take care of this legally, to give them an easement so the well could stay where it is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. I declare the article passes. Number 5. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $65,000 to be added to the Road and Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Brian? Make that as a motion.
I do.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Brian.
Just for further explanation, the town maintains a trust fund wherein we maintain a balance sufficient enough to conduct sufficient large road projects each year. Certain years, these road projects are larger, they draw down the trust fund more. Other years, the road projects are less. By adding in the $65,000 annually, it helps us maintain this road trust fund at a sufficient level. So each year, as we need to draw down in order to conduct large road projects, like this year, we're looking to do Lyford Road. That would be one of our largest road projects, which would be roughly 90-something thousand. That would draw down that trust fund, but then again, we continuously add in 65,000, which keeps it at a median level and allows us to perform these road projects.
Is there any further discussion to the article? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. I declare that the article passes. Number 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $94,000 for the major repair of town roads and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of said sum from the Road and Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund created for that purpose. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. That one's yours also, Brian?
It is. Can I make a motion?
Yes, please. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
This dovetails into the warrant article number 5, where I was saying that we have this trust fund that we draw down from. The $94,000 was, it's an estimate that the road committee put forth in order to do Lyford Road over. Again, we would pull that $94,000 from that trust fund, and it would take care of a vast majority of the road repair needed in order to get that up to snuff again.
Go ahead.
Tom Beeler. What parts of Lyford Road are being done over?
I believe it's the full section from the state up until the dirt. So it's just about the full section.
Past Clark Road, then?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Over in the corner?
Yeah.
Jerry Chipaway, Lyford Road. What exactly is the plan that is going to be done on Lyford Road? Doing the road over doesn't say much. What's the objective? And what's the condition of the road supposed to be like after the repairs for $94,000? And does that include any of the dirt road?
I'll start from the last, go forward. It does not include the dirt road. We're stopping at the dirt road. Currently, the way we are tackling roads are the roads that are most traveled and have the largest problem to clear during the winter months. That road is posing a major problem to clear snow. And I believe what we're going to do is we're going to take that pavement down and we're going to lay new pavement on top of, and I don't have my exact specs, but I think we're doing a 4-inch level of new pavement, and we're going to gravel the edges.
Are you going to grind the existing road first, or are you just going to pave over the top?
We're grinding.
You're grinding. Has anybody bid this job, or is this a guesstimate?
We haven't had a bid yet, but this is what I've worked with the road agent, and that was the figure that we got from the road agent.
Has anybody looked at the formula that I submitted to the town for calculation of road repairs?
I think we used it, yeah.
You used it.
I think it was identical, or very close to what we used, yeah.
Doesn't sound like it. 94 grand is a short stretch of road, but maybe.
Yeah, over there.
Are there going to be any right-of-way or survey issues in regards to Lyford Road, like your front end on Bryce Drive?
I don't believe so. That road runs down the center. The rock walls seem to dictate where our right-of-way is. I don't think we have issues there.
Anyone else? In that case, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. I declare the motion carries. to move on to the next article?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Number 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the conservation fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. That one belongs to Bill. You want to make
Make
that
a motion, please.
Yep.
A second.
Second, very good.
The proposed warrant would put $500 into the conservation fund. We've added to that over the last couple of years. This money is used by the Conservation Commission as they see fit. They might help out on somebody who's obtaining property and getting a current use permit. Maybe they need some additional funding to help on something. But it's their money to spend as a committee as they see fit.
Rob?
Approximately, what's the current balance?
Rob, you're supposed to identify yourself.
I'm sorry, Rob Collins, Stony Road.
That's what I was looking for while that was all going on. Anybody know?
What was the question?
What's the current balance in the conservation fund?
2,600.
Yeah,
I've added to it, it's $2,586.45 with the interest that's been
Thank you.
earned.
Any further discussion on this article? Go ahead.
Ed Comeau, Stone Road. Is any of the funding going to the Conservation Commission going to any dues to Moose Mountain Greenways? No.
Does someone official know the answer to the question?
No, it does not.
The town says no, but I don't know if anybody official answered it. Okay.
So I can answer. Town treasurer, Mary McLean, Tibbetts Hill Road. The money from this fund nothing's ever been taken out. So the fund was established and each year $500 has been added, but nothing has been spent from this fund.
Thank you.
Certainly.
In the back?
John Chambliss, Stone Road, then why would we need to continue to add money to this fund?
We would add money to it just to build it up so that they would have more money to be able to use if a project or something came along. Many towns outside of Brookfield will use part of the money if current use property is brought out of current use and there's I would say a flying fee charge for that would automatically put that money into the conservation fund. Since the town of Brookfield counts on any of that money to lower the entire budget, we felt it was in the best interest of the town to put $500 a year into it and build it up that way, rather than take money that might come from taking property out of current use.
Over there?
I'm Dulcie Lavender, Brook Road. I can also speak to that. I think a lot of conservation funds do use funds of this nature to assist people in putting land in conservation easement. We did this on our property, and there's a lot of expenses, even if you're donating an easement, surveying the property, a lot of administrative fees that the landowner would incur, even if they were donating an easement in the conservation. So I think that's the intent of those types of so, $2,500 or $3,000 is really minimal.
Anyone else want to speak to the article? Go ahead, Rob.
Rob Collins again. What would the target balance be? Like, is the intent that we would put $500 in every year forever? Or is there looking to get $5,000 in there? Or what's the long plan for how much money should be spent this way?
There's no set amount. I would anticipate, since what we have can't pay for very much now, roughly $2,500, that would need to be built up to an amount that could really get something done, and that might be $5,000, it might be more. So I think once we got it up to a number, I'll use 5,000 for example, and they start spending that money, it would come down. So it's really an answer that I can't give you because we want to build it up as much as we can, and we do know that the money will be spent as they see a project that is needed. But that's their decision. It's a good reason for people to get on the Conservation Committee.
Gary, I'll recognize you next.
This was a floor fight 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
4 years ago, where the warrant article was to take all the money that was captured by the town from any property being taken out of current use and give that to the Conservation Commission as a fund for doing whatever the Conservation Commission needed to do. That's where it started. And the fight, or I should say debate, was whether or not the taxpayers' money should be given indiscriminately to a body of non-elected officials to use as they saw fit. And in the end, the town decided to give them $500 a year, and I remember this distinctly. There was no limit placed on how much money was to be put in the fund. It was just going to be $500 per year, as opposed to adding all the current use money, taxes that were recouped. So that's how it was, and that was the way it was written, and that's what it is in the warrant article. Because I have a copy of that, and I wasn't too long ago when I looked at it. So I just figured I'd answer his question. There's no limit to how much money goes in there. We're just putting $500 a year in.
As the legislative body for the town, it would be this group's right to change that if they saw fit. Is there any other discussion? Rob wants to speak again. I'll recognize him if there's nobody who hasn't spoken who wants to speak. Go ahead, Rob.
So I'm just trying to understand the process. If a project came up that was more than $2,500, or more than was in the amount in that fund at a given time, could the Conservation Commission bring a warrant article here to a town meeting to ask for, say they had a project they want to spend $10,000 and they didn't have that much? Would the process be that they would write a warrant article and see if we wanted to spend that money? I mean, is there a process other than putting $500 in forever? Either that's, my guess would be either that's too much or it's not enough.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the amendment should be changed to $1,000 or change it to zero.
Certainly, they could ask the selectmen to put a warrant article on the warrant at any point in time. Also, they could bring a warrant article by petition. As long as it's warned properly, it would be considered in order whether the selectmen wanted it or not. So you're right, either one of those two processes could happen. Is there any further discussion on the motion on the floor? I'll recognize Gary if nobody else wants to speak who has not spoken before. Go ahead, Gary.
The reason they put it at $500 was so that there would be money available in the instance that a project came due halfway between town meetings, and there were no discretionary funds that the selectmen could allocate toward that. Otherwise, the project might not come to fruition if they had to wait 6 months to get to town meetings. So they put a base thing in there, not figuring that the Conservation Commission would attempt any huge surveying projects, because that would probably be require the town vote to get into that kind of expenditure. That's how that discussion all went that night.
Okay.
Just to refresh it.
Is there any further discussion to the warrant article? Seeing none, all those in favor of the article, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Let's raise our hands. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I declare that the article passes. Article 8. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the Heritage Fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Is that one yours, Bill?
That's mine. I make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to it?
Sure. This $500 is going to the Heritage Commission to support their fund to do planning and work primarily on this building now that the school hasn't started. So it's their working money to do studies and projects associated with basically this building. Is it enough money? No, it's not enough money, but maybe we can get started with a plan.
Rob?
Same questions last time.
Yeah.
How much money is in there?
Hold on, 2,500, and they were set up the same year.
Can't find the page.
The Heritage Commission, the Heritage Fund has $2,501.48 currently.
Right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. I declare that the motion passes. Article 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of $1,250 to be added to the Capital Reserve Fund, known as the Town Cemetery Fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation.
I'll move the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rich.
As you folks know, we need a town cemetery. We had started a trust fund a few years ago. This is $1,250 going into that fund to purchase, maintain, find a town cemetery. Right now, we're pushing $11,000 in the fund. Our estimates, doing some research from other towns, we could be looking at a worst-case scenario of $60,000 if we had to buy 2 acres, log it, stump it, and do all the surveying. So we've got a long way to go, and the purpose of this article is to keep that fund growing.
Any questions? Any further discussion? Go ahead, Gary.
Gary Chigaroni again. Is it mandatory by state law that we must have a cemetery?
Yes.
Rob?
Could you clarify who makes the decision to expend money from this fund?
Last year, there was a warrant article that authorized the selectmen to have the ability to spend money from this fund, not having to wait for a town meeting. Now, to buy land, there's a whole host of RSA requirements you have to follow. You have to get the planning board involved, you have to get the cemetery commission involved to make sure all committees concur with the purchase. So it's not just an arbitrary purchase by the board of selectmen.
Thank you.
Good. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. I declare that the article passes. Next article, number 10. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $8,350 to be added to the Property Reevaluation Expendable Trust Fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation.
Make a motion.
You make the motion. Thanks, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Brian.
Every 5 years, we have the town property, the homes in the town properties reassessed for evaluation in order to assess our ability to levy property tax against individual landowners. Currently, we are on the 4th year of our 5-year cycle. We've opted to speed up a cycle, and this is our 4th year. We've contacted Avatar, who is our agent that we utilize in order to assess property, and we've been paying into a trust fund in order to build a nest egg up, if you will, because there is a lump sum that we need to pay them in order for them to do the full town revaluation. This $8,350 will get us to the amount we need in order to have the reassessment of the entire town done a year early. And it's coming up a year early due to the fact that we had a few abatements come up, and there was talk of many abatements coming up in order to ensure proper valuation, fair valuation of all the properties. We've agreed that we should have Avatar come in a year early and do a full reassessment of the town's properties, and so that is slated to begin in 2014.
Any further discussion of the warrant article? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The motion carries. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,000 to be added to the town building office equipment expendable trust fund previously established. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. I've lost track of who's bill. Thank you. You make that as a motion?
Yes, I do.
And Brian seconds.
Second.
Bill, do you want to speak to it?
Yes, several years back, we started this trust fund to avoid having to all of a sudden have a lump sum payment come up to buy new equipment. We were finding this year that we were spending more money in getting things repaired, things outdated, that type of thing. So we thought this would be the year to expand what we had in the account for equipment, which could be all sorts of things, but primarily the computers. And we decided to go ahead with that. We spent $7,000 of the fund, and it's now time to rebuild up that fund, so 5, 6, 4, whatever number of years down the road, it can be used again as needed.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. I declare that the motion carries. Article number 12. To see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to swap property taken by tax deed located in the Welton in Brookfield, parenthesis Drew Farm, subdivision at map 18, lot 4, sublots B and C, for other lots in the subdivision, specifically map 18, lot 4, sublots Q and or M, for use as a new town cemetery. The selectmen recommend this article.
I'll move the motion.
Thank you, Rich.
I'll second.
Very good. Would you like to speak to it?
Sure. As the warrant states, we own two lots, two 2.5 acre lots in the back part of the Drew Park subdivision. It was our feeling that these are not the most desirable lots or location. The lots are fine, not the most desirable location to have a cemetery in the middle of a development. There are two lots right on Route 109 between the two roads that go into Drew Park. So there's two lots right there on 109, and we'd like the permission or the authorization to swap the back land for the front land. We think that the two lots up front would make a much better location for a town cemetery. One is cleared, one has a burying ground on it today.
Good. Any discussion to the warrant article? In the back.
Mark Stengel, Bryce Drive. Note the previous landowners have up to 3 years to pay the taxes, get the property back.
That's correct. Or we can sell them at a tax sale tomorrow. But there are regulations, and the lawyer, we're asking our lawyer to do the negotiations. She's meeting with the people Thursday. We take that as a good sign because they could say no right out of the box, but they're willing to talk.
Gary?
Any of these lots on already accepted town road, or are they on private roads?
The lots in the back are on private roads. We haven't accepted, the town hasn't accepted those roads. The two lots in the front border Route 109.
They're on Route 109. Can we get access from 109 to get into the cemetery?
Yeah, I mean, it's on Route 109.
So that's what you want to swap for, the ones on 109?
Yes.
So then we would not be required to maintain the roads that border the lot that are private, if we have access from 109.
I don't know what the covenants say with respect to lot ownership and who maintains the road. There's covenants on the lots that we have to work also. Now, I don't know if the covenants require all lot owners to share part of the maintenance of the road. So I can't answer that question. I don't know what the covenants
So we
are.
might wind up as lot owners, sharing in the covenant of maintaining the road.
Yes,
Will we have to maintain a proportionate share of the entire mile and a half of the roads, or just, I mean, you don't know that yet. Does
Well-
the attorney know that?
the way the covenants read, each lot shares a proportional share of the total road maintenance, of the total mileage in the
Snow
development.
removal, repairs, everything.
Have we received, we've owned this lot since July, have we received the bill yet? No.
How many lots are there?
We own two. Out of
Two out
about
of how many? 15, was it?
10-ish, 15-ish. 2 are sold.
So you're talking, we own, 16 or 18% of the road. We're gonna maintain it for all those lots.
We may have to contribute financially.
Yes, I mean, 16 to 18%. Or perhaps more if there's only 2 residents up there.
Well, they divide the total number of lots into
Yeah, but it's, I see it, you know, that's some lots. All right, I just wanted to know.
I believe that would be true whether or not this article passes.
Pardon me?
I believe that would be true whether or not this article passes.
Right, you still own it.
Except we could liquidate the lots unless they become town cemetery and we own them infinitum.
That's true. In the back.
Aaron Donnelly, Lyford Road. Are there any other options in town for places to put a town cemetery, or is that it?
We are open to any ideas that come forward. We prefer to have something that's cleared because the stumping and the logging is so very expensive. But we are looking for volunteers to talk to us and see what we can negotiate. We need about 2 acres. 2 acres would be plenty. The preliminary numbers we got from Wolfboro were 400 burials per acre. So if we had 2 acres, that would take care of us for decades. Wouldn't have to develop all 2 acres, but it would be in reserve.
There.
Any feedback from the residents of,
David, you need to introduce yourself when you speak.
David Donagara, 28611 Road. Have we got any feedback from the residents that live on the subdivision as to how they feel about the cemetery going into place?
No, we have not. Right now, there are protective covenants that said we can't put a cemetery in there. But like I said, the owners are willing to talk to our lawyer about the transaction, so that would be on the table.
How can the attorneys that represent the folks that are being, the folks that are forfeiting the land represent the homeowners that are already own property in the development? Is it a homeowners association or is it?
Don't. The attorneys are representing the town. The owners of the subdivision are talking with the attorney.
So do they own the entire subdivision, including the 2 lots that are owned by individual owners?
They own the subdivision minus 2 lots that have been sold to private individuals and the 2 lots that the town owns.
I heard from one of the property owners during the election process, and they weren't too excited about cemetery building, so I guess we need to anticipate additional legal expenses associated with future litigation. I don't know if
If they push on us and say no, our option is to sell the property at a tax sale and try to find other land that might be in the town. I mean, we're not going to go into a legal battle with them. If they say no, that's their right.
Can I comment?
Yes, I recommend Bill Nelson.
Thank you. One of the reasons that we went this route, taking a property is not an enjoyable task, but it's one that we are in place to do. But we thought this would also be a good deal for the owner of the property, that maybe it is to his advantage, maybe, to swap the lots. So the negotiations are, he may see that as an advantage for himself, to swap these 2 lots out. And we'll just see what they come up with.
Jeff Ballard, Holly Lane. Do you have any idea what the estimated revenue at tax sale for the 2 lots would be?
Sure,
To
right.
give us money to buy a different,
Around $20,000
each or total?
total.
Total. And how much was in the fund?
11.
The cemetery fund already?
11.
11, so to get to 30, and you said the estimated was 60 to get a cemetery off the ground? Thank you.
With a wooded lot.
Right.
If you can avoid the logging and stumping, you can save $30,000.
Any further discussion to the warrant? Rob?
Rob Collins, Stone Road. I'm not entirely clear on what motion entails. It seems like there's 2 things here. One is swapping lots, the other is the last phrase, which is for use of the new town cemetery. Are we The discussion's been about swapping lots. Are we also deciding that this would be used as a town cemetery, or is that going to be a separate? Because earlier, the discussion was that was a separate decision that was going to involve a bunch of words.
That would have to be a separate decision.
So the subject of this warrant article is the swap of lots, regardless of how that land gets
The
used.
goal in swapping the lots would be to make it a cemetery. But we have to go through the other boards to make sure it's acceptable.
But the subject of tonight's vote is to authorize swapping lots.
Yes.
Without any caveats on what the land gets used for.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
In the back?
Pam Fraser, Wagner Road. Yeah, if I understand it correctly, the two lots in the front on 109, one of them is partially cleared, already has a burial ground on it. Has two burial grounds on it.
One is cleared, the other one has the burying ground.
Oh, so one is a cleared lot already, and one with a burial ground on it, so that makes it very desirable for a cemetery, and it's on a public right of way. As opposed to having two cemeteries up in the midst of the subdivision. Am I stating that correctly? And that's all you're trying to do is to trade the lots to become.
What we're trying to negotiate is trade the lots and get permission to do some test borings, if you will, to make sure we can use the land and to see what they'll do with the covenants. Because right now there's protective covenants, and that's what the attorney's negotiating or talking about to find out their position.
I saw a lot of hands a minute ago.
One
over there.
Jim Murphy, Wentworth Road. If this passes, there's no commitment on the town's part to do this swap. It just gives you the option, once you've studied all these other issues, to go ahead if you think it's the best course for the town.
That's correct. If we don't get authorization, we have to wait a year if they want to swap, to do a swap.
But doesn't mean necessarily that you'll actually do the swap.
That's correct.
If it passes, it just gives you the authority to do so if after studying all the other issues, you decide it's the best course.
That's right.
I see your hand, Gary, but I saw other people first. Yeah. Anybody else want to speak? I guess you got the floor, Gary.
Has there been any real estate appraisals of these lots for value?
Yeah.
Would seem to me the intrinsic value of the lots on 109 might be a little more than a private road.
We used the assessed value that was on the tax card.
Any further discussion? Good. In that case, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. I declare that the motion passes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
Mr. Moderator, can I make a motion if that's possible?
Yes?
Move to restrict reconsideration of warrant articles 4 through 12
There's a motion. Is there a
for
second?
RSA 40:10.
Very good. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion to the motion? To clarify this would mean that if the town wanted to reconsider the articles mentioned, we would have to warn the meeting and wait 7 days. If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Article number 13. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the selectmen's recommended sum of $717,388 for the town operating budget. Said sum does not include special or individual articles addressed separately in this warrant. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Would someone like to make that as a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? The selectmen don't have anything they want to say to this. We're going to go directly to the town, okay? Any discussion on the budget? In the back.
I have a two-part question. My name's Judy Cotton. The town owns no town equipment, right?
I don't know the answer to that. Does anybody know the answer to the question? Yeah?
Why are we paying Correll's and Sandersville Hardware for payments if we own no equipment?
You own equipment. You have a fire truck and other.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry, I was thinking road equipment, that type of thing.
Eddie, could you answer that question to the microphone so everybody can hear it?
Sure. They have a forestry unit, a spray unit for ice and dust control, an item called a rock breaker for breaking rocks as opposed to hiring some blasting gun, and a few other minor miscellaneous pieces of equipment. But the Crowells comes from the forestry unit.
Eddie, could you identify yourself as the road agent, please?
Ed Nason, of course. Moose Mountain Road road agent.
Thank you.
About that.
Me too.
Any further discussion to the budget? Gee, you guys are really calm tonight. I like that. This is good. This is good.
Don't encourage me.
Somebody must have something to say. Okay, are you ready for the question? All those in favor of the budget, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. I declare that the warrant article passes. Is there any other business to come before the committee? I believe you had something about fireworks, Bill?
I don't have a sheet of paper in front of me, but there was a thing that came through in regards to the town's thoughts in regards to fireworks being used in the town. Are they allowed or not allowed? Are they allowed to be sold or not allowed to be sold? And they were looking for a response from the town, what our view was on fireworks.
Good.
Anybody have a view?
The selectmen could answer that as we have no opinion, but if the town would like to make its wishes known in some way, someone could make a motion.
This is for sale of fireworks in town?
Both. One was for sale and one was for use of fireworks.
Big difference.
Yeah, sale or use.
You're good?
Gary,
I see your hand up. You're right behind the speaker. It's really hard to see
Is
you.
the sale and the use all in the same question? Because technically the sale of fireworks, I don't see them as being an agricultural product. So I can't imagine where we would be selling fireworks in Brookfield unless it's out of a house or a home business. So why would you couple the two of them together, sale and use? Or are they coupled together? I don't understand.
I do not have the wording of the thing in front of me, but basically it asked for both positions. Does the town allow the sale of fireworks? And the second one, does it allow the use of legal fireworks?
They were asking just for our opinion?
They're looking for the feeling of the town.
The town's opinion is what
Yeah,
they're asking. I see a hand in the back.
Pam Fraser, Lyman Road. I have a question on it. Are both the sale and the use legal in our town? Are the sale and the use of fireworks legal in this town now?
We have tried to check into that, and we do not have any information that confirms they are not.
So that would be legal?
I don't know about the sale. I think we have to approve the sale. As far as the use, that's a whole different ballgame. I think there's two different questions out there.
And the question is, do we have an ordinance that regulates the use of fireworks in town? I don't think so.
Right, currently we have no ordinance.
Therefore, we go.
restricting Sale, nor do we have an ordinance restricting use. Is that true?
That's correct. Doug, I'll recognize you next.
Look down the road here. I'd like to make this is really ridiculous. Fireworks are dangerous. They're made of phosphorus and they burn. Every year we have people that are hurt, kids as well as adults, because they don't know what they're doing, and you have fireworks in this town, you're gonna have a problem. Number two is, I'm speaking as the retired fire warden for this community, we've had 2 or 3 bottle rockets go off when I was the warden down here, and they set woods on fire. This is not a good thing for this town. It should be done by professionals and professionals only. Thank you.
I see your hand again, Gary, and I will recognize you if nobody else has anything to say. Tom, have you spoken before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, then I'll recognize you.
No, I think it's a terrible idea. This is a very wooded area. We like that. And Doug is right. You have some fireworks go off, they drop in the woods, we could really have a terrible conflagration. We don't need that.
Good. Is there anyone else who has not spoken yet? Go ahead.
Tom Hill, License Road. I know fireworks are open and sold in the state of New Hampshire. There are stores that sell it, so it's legal to sell it in the state. I don't know if the town can say, okay, it's prohibited here or not, but the sale is legal in the state.
Very good. Gary, yours is the only hand up, so I will recognize you again.
We have no ordinances, as planning board member and chairman, we have no fireworks ordinances on the books. So therefore, we have no stipulations that supersede state law. We can only make things more restrictive, not more lenient than the state law is. And the state law, of course, allows fireworks to be sold and Class C to be used, like on the 4th of July. So we have, so far, are in compliant with state law, which is all we can do, or get more restrictive. That's what it's at. It is legal in Brookfield at the moment.
Go ahead.
Ernest Brown, Clark Road. I believe Gary is correct. I believe the town zoning ordinance says, though, if something is not specifically permitted, it is prohibited in our zoning regulations. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it says that, but we still don't have any law in the books that prohibits fireworks. We don't have any law in the books that prohibit selling lemonade either. Permit selling lemonade or about anything. But we do a lot of those things because there is no law on books about that. And we get into that endless debate that if it's not prohibited, it's permitted because that's the nature of zoning in New Hampshire. All towns. But state law specifically speaks to fireworks, and they make it legal in the state of New Hampshire. I think we have to spell that out in order to make it illegal in the town as a special ordinance, which I'm not in agreement with, by the way. I think fireworks should be able to be shot off on the 4th of July. I mean, people have guns and they're idiots and shoot each other. People have cars that are idiots and run each other down. And we could make a law against all those things to prevent everybody from getting injured for a time or more.
Okay, just remind me.
Anyway, that's my feeling.
David?
I agree with Gary. You don't have restrictions in place now. I think that we haven't had any issues in the past that people are able to light fireworks if they want to.
If someone would like to speak, pass the microphone. I believe what you said is that we have no restrictions and that you're content with that. I think at this point in time, we've given you some sense of what the town says, and unless someone would like to make a motion, go ahead.
Bill Deering, Holly Lane. What do we have to do to change that? Could I make a motion that we don't sell fireworks in Brookfield and we're not make it illegal to use them in Brookfield?
We can't pass a town ordinance here. We can pass a motion. If you would like to have something, I would prefer it to be in writing. Then we can certainly vote on that, and the selectmen could make it into an ordinance based on the sense of what the town wants. And I think the selectmen in general respect the wishes of the town. But no, we don't have the authority to make an ordinance, but we can pass a resolution if you so desire.
Can we poll what the town feels about it right now?
We could do that, yes. Mr. Ex-Moderator.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Or Richard Peckham.
Yeah.
Anything that we do here today cannot legally be construed as an ordinance. It can be the opinion expressed by the town meeting, because we really can't vote on anything. that is not in the warrant.
We can't spend any money, that is correct.
Any other issue. It's not in the warrant.
Okay?
So it would be an advisory vote.
It would be an advisory vote, that is correct. But we can't take an advisory vote if people so desire. In the back. Yes?
If we do take a advisory vote for poll tonight, could we do it separately, like selling, and then do another one for use?
I will remind you that this is your meeting, and you can do whatever you want.
I would request that we do two separate, can I make a motion that we do two separate polling votes?
I would suggest that it would be more advisable to make a motion than to make a motion to suggest that somebody make a motion.
I would make a motion that we do two separate polling votes, one for the sale of fireworks in the town and one for the use.
My ears seem to have a problem here, Pam. I think that what we need to do is to make a motion on what you really want the people to vote on, and not what you want them then to vote on. So just make a motion of one thing to vote on, and then we can talk about that.
I make a motion for, prohibit sales in the town of Brookfield.
Okay? I hear that Pam said that she votes that the town's opinion is that they would prefer that the sale of firearms be prohibited in this town. Is that correct? Fireworks. I told you my ears were a problem. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Could you please repeat it so that everyone can hear it?
I make a motion that that we prohibits the sale of fireworks in the town of Brookfield.
Very good, and that motion has been seconded. Is there discussion to the motion? I will remind you that this is an advisory vote. Go ahead.
Janet Murphy, I think just to clarify what Dick was trying to say was that we can give our opinion, but if we want to pass it as part of our zoning ordinance, it would have to go to the planning board and or petition and be voted on a year from now before it could be anything that we could really do.
That's true. I believe the selectmen can also make an ordinance at their meetings by that process as well. As Dick pointed out earlier, this is an advisory vote. I see a hand over here.
Richard Mazur, Government's Road. This whole thing seems rather new because under current ordinances, the only commercial sales allowed in Brookfield are home industries. I don't know when fireworks from China became a home industry in Brookfield. It just seems new because under our current zoning regulations, you're not allowed to sell anything other than home-based products.
Yep.
So I don't know what we're discussing here. The only thing possibly in question would be the use of fireworks, not the sale.
Is there any further discussion? Gary, go ahead.
That's not exactly true. The way our ordinances read, you can have a home-based business. You don't necessarily have to manufacture the thing in your house to sell it. Yeah, we have no commercial. Our home-based business would be fine. I mean, I'm going to read the ordinance here. But I don't think that we are forbidding anybody to sell fireworks. And does that entail setting up a shop that has a display, or the guy next door says, "I got an extra 10 skyrockets, I paid $20 for it, I got $20, and you sell them $20, and now you're a refugee from the government, or what? I mean, how do you get to define this kind of stuff? Just getting about no more sales, and everybody's guilty of a crime for selling one firework, and that's silly.
Again, this would be an advisory vote. This would not make anything a crime. Yeah? Diane.
Diane back in Brookfield, just out of curiosity, could we have more information as to where this question came from?
Do you recall who that came
If
from?
I can go over and find that letter, it was sitting on the desk and it got moved, and I wanted to bring it to read it verbatim.
Yeah.
and it was not on the desk, so somewhere, somebody's walking around with it. And
I will
apologize.
take credit for that because we appropriated your desk for voting booths when things got busy. So we kind of pushed the stuff aside and put up voting booths there. So that's entirely my fault, and you can crucify me now.
Well, the reason I was asking is just because I think that would make a big difference. I mean,
It would make a difference.
is this a company like the one up on Route 16?
I believe it was someone from the state, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a state agency.
Yeah.
It was a state agency.
It was a state agency.
Okay, it wasn't a manufacturer or
No.
a company that sells fireworks.
I saw the letter, it was from an official state agency before I inadvertently buried it, and it's my fault that it is not locatable at the moment. I'm not perfect, I'm sorry. It's not January, I only walk on water in January. Go ahead.
I think my question was answered. It was not, this is not something that somebody in Brookfield thought was important to bring up here. This was somebody else in some other part of the government that
Yes.
decided that this was something we should talk about.
Precisely.
I think this is a silly waste of our time to be talking about this here.
Very good.
That's not-
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I have some, I'd like the input, because I think we're obligated to answer the letter, give them some feedback. So a show of hands would be appreciated. What does the town want?
I was intending to have a voice vote, but if you really want a show of hands, we can do that.
Just give us a feel, so we can fill out the questionnaire.
Is there any further discussion to the motion on the floor? In that case, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
I guess we're going to have a show of hands. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay. Would you please repeat the motion?
Are we in favor of prohibiting the sale?
The motion was to prohibit the sale of fireworks in town of Brookfield. Sale.
The sale. This is dealing with sales only, okay? Very good. All those in favor of prohibiting the sale of fireworks in the town of Brookfield, please raise your hands. Very good. I'm not going to count them. I may have you raise your hands again if it's close. All those against this, please raise your hands. I guess I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those in favor, please raise your hands a second time. I count 33 in favor and 18 opposed. I declare that the motion passes. Is there any further motion that people wish to bring forth at this time? Go ahead, Ed.
I'd like to make a motion not to ever vote on something when it doesn't originate from the town. This is supposed to be our meeting, and we're voting on something that somebody just brought to us.
I believe the motion was made by the lady in the back row.
I meant the original.
Any further discussion? If someone wants to make another motion, I'll listen to it.
I don't move to adjourn. We need to address the second part of that.
The letter was not to me, it was to the selectmen. But, Bill, do you feel that you've had enough feedback? Do you guys feel like you've had enough feedback at this point in time?
Well, Pam's motion technically had two parts. The usage is the second part.
I didn't hear that motion. The usage
Maybe
part
I
we can
was-
vote on now if somebody wants to make a motion to that effect.
Hands up.
Ham, go ahead, Tom, you're the hands up.
Tom Lavender, Wentworth Road. I would suggest the second question is a lot more difficult than the first question, because a lot of the fireworks, as I understand it, come in two different categories. And you can use sparklers in some places and not firecrackers, and I don't know what the break is. It seems to me that it would be difficult to answer the question with a single motion.
I think that's true. Ed?
I'd like to make a motion that we allow the use of fireworks as prescribed by the state.
Very good. There's a motion and a second. Is there discussion to the motion that was made?
What's the motion?
Would you please repeat your motion with the microphone so everyone can hear it?
I made a motion that we allow the use of fireworks as prescribed by the state of New Hampshire.
Second.
Very good. I will remind you all that this is an advisory vote and does not have the power of law. Is there discussion to the motion? Go ahead.
Again, I'm going to bring it up. Is there anybody here in this room that is an explosive expert? Well, if there isn't, I'm going to tell you another story. Explosive, no matter what it is dangerous. If you don't know how to handle it, you're going to be in trouble. Somebody is going to get hurt. Somebody will get hurt. It may be one of the kids, or it could be a sparkler. They can set a fire. I can remember, I'll give you an example. I went to a wedding over in Vermont. And they had a big tent. And it was a sort of a rainy, miserable day. So they had the tent enclosed so they could have the reception out there. I don't know how, every table in that tent had sparklers on it. 4 sparklers on each table. And then they all lit them up at the same time. Now you can imagine what that place was really like. You had to get out of there. Everybody was choking, the whole 9 yards. It was stupidity. Because they didn't know, or they didn't act the way they were supposed to do. That's just one thing. Cherry bombs, all of the types of firecrackers that you use, some of them are pretty powerful. You can blow your finger off. I'm just giving you some insight. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to underline that statement. I'm going to take off my moderator's hat for a moment and point out that I've had 3 times in my career that I've had children who looked in the hole to see why their firework did not go off.
That's right.
I would prefer not to have to deal with that, but in any event, I'll now put the moderator hat back on and recognize Frank, who's standing up.
No, I just...
Oh, you're just standing up because you want to stand up. Okay, very good, that's fine. Over here.
John Chambers, Tilden Road. I would say that you could just take out the word fireworks and insert matches or cigarettes or anything that you wanted to. I certainly wouldn't want someone telling me what I can and cannot do on my property. So if your little kids have trouble with fireworks, that's your job and your responsibility to take care of them. It is not mine. So if I want to do fireworks on my land, I'm going to do fireworks on my land, and I should have the right to.
We'll recognize people who haven't spoken first. There we go.
Chairman Joe, Mike Road. You talked about
The microphone's coming.
You talked about doing stuff on your own property. My wife and I were in house in Mexico, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And some guy was putting some trash on his property. And he set the San Diego Crystal Mountains on fire. Ancient Fire Ski Lodge, so on and so forth. We own 10 acres, Jerry owns a couple hundred acres, all these people own a substantial amount of land around here. It's all forested. You want to set a fire in their place? Go ahead and burn the hell out of it. We don't burn everybody else's stuff. We got wildlife and everything else around here. That's why a lot of people live here. You know, for 4 or 5 hours, enjoy it one day a year. You're crazy.
Very good. I see people who've spoken before. Do I see anyone who hasn't spoken before? Okay. In that case, I will go here first.
In relation to that, I agree with this gentleman here. As a retired fire warden, I was a warden in this town for 20 years. And we've had problems with this before. I just want to explain to this gentleman over here that he can be taken to court if you set fire on your property and it gets off of your property, then you're in trouble. Believe me, you are.
It's no need for more.
Okay. If you don't believe me, I'll get a hold of Bob Boyd, our ranger for this area, and he will explain it to you.
Yeah. I'll remind you to direct your comments to the chair. Over there next.
My response to that would be if I'm going to burn your land I do that, there's already laws in place that will take care of my malfeasance. So there's no need for an ordinance for you to tell me what I can and cannot do.
I believe we're over here next. One person at a time.
See this here? Everybody take a good look. See this, a hand with no fingers? That comes from the improper use of power tools. I say ban them all. I'm so sick to death of being protected by the government that I think we should eliminate the problem. We should ban automobiles. We should ban matches, cigarette lighters. We should also ban power saws of all kinds and electric drills because they can do this. In fact, things should be banned like cell phones. Now, they made a law that you can't talk on it in the car, but some people are idiots. They've got the thing on the dashboard, and they can talk, but they're not concentrating on the driving because they're having a conversation with another idiot in the car somewhere, and they still kill 10 people. So let's ban everything and let the government tell us what to do all the time. I think it's a great idea. I think we should all sit in our houses and never come out again because we're all going to get hurt or hurt somebody else. It is the government's duty to protect you and you and you and me from all of these, each other. And fireworks is really the starting point. I think that they're hideous, they're terrible, they should never have been invented, and that everybody should run as far and as fast away from fireworks as they can because they scare the hell out of me. Anyway, thanks.
All right, that was good. Good. Do we have any other comments to the motion? In that case, I'm going to ask Eddie to repeat his motion so that people can vote.
If I can remember it, it's to allow the use of fireworks as prescribed by the state of New Hampshire.
Very good. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
No.
I believe the ayes have it. Is there any further business to come before this committee? Tom?
If anybody knows of or has a graduating senior that does not go to Kingswood or Brewster Academy, that in the families lived in Brookfield, please tell me so we can put their name in for the Brookfield Scholastic Achievement Award.
Are you asking for 2014? Or are you asking for 2014 or 2015?
2014.
Very good. If anyone knows anyone who is graduating from other than Governor Wentworth this year, please make sure Tom knows, or Brewster, make sure Tom knows who we're dealing with. Anything else that needs to come before the town at this point in time?
Be two things. I just want to direct everyone's attention to our lovely annual report, 2013. Contained therein, we have a dedication to a gentleman I've got to know over the past couple of years. Sitting right here in front of me, Tom Hill. He's lived here in Brookfield for 7 years now. We won't fault him for the fact that he's come from New York State, but he has found his way home to New Hampshire, and he's become a great part of the community. Somebody I think we all could definitely learn from. Selfless acts, willing to help out our small town. It's a small town and it only takes a handful of people to get stuff done, but the more hands the better. Tom was huge in a real big part of this town hall, getting it ready for us, because you wouldn't have known it, but just a few days ago, this place was an icebox. Tom took a lot of his own time to take the ductwork out of here, go and get it recycled responsibly, move a bunch of stuff out of the schoolhouse, bring it into here. He volunteers over at the TRAC. And basically he's a selfless individual who's now retired, but definitely wants to continue to help his community out. And I think we should recognize Tom, and the dedication is well deserved in the 2013 manual.
Rich, you said you had 2 items?
I have 2, but Tom,
Okay, Tom? As last item, I think we
All
should...
the people around here who do the same thing. A lot of people that serve on all the committees, all the commissions, do a lot of work for this town. Without them, the town wouldn't exist.
Let's thank our volunteers, guys. All right. And in the same vein, I think that the town would please join me in thanking Bill Nelson for his years of service. Is there anything else to come before this meeting? In that case, I declare this town meeting adjourned.
Want a sitting or standing?
Well, it's a sitting board, so I guess you ought to be sitting.